Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing good. I really haven't done too much Stone stuff on my channel. I always talk about the Beatles and I do classic albums and things like that. But today I want to talk about the brand new reissue of the Stones' 1973 album, Goat's Head Soup, which came out in this new super duper deluxe package with a new mix of the album, a Dolby Atmos mix, a disc of outtakes, and the live Brussels affair, which they did officially finally go and release that, I believe, in 2011. And now it's a part of this package, but it was a widely bootleg live set for a long time, and it's tremendous. But basically, I want to talk about the album and this set here. I also got the vinyl edition of the new mix, and it's basically the standard, except it doesn't have the famous Goat's Head Soup insert, if you know what I'm talking about. So a bit disappointed in that. Now, let me just say, I like this album a lot. In my opinion, the Stones, and I don't like to do Stones versus Beatles things, but the Stones were such a great band. They really could do no wrong, I'd say, up until After Some Girls. And I think a lot of people kind of agree with that. But what a run, beginning with Beggar's Banquet in 1968 and continuing with 1969 and Let It Bleed, which to me is my personal favorite Stones album. It's the first one I heard from beginning to end. My father had it on cassette. I think that's a quintessential masterpiece. But then how do you decide here? They follow that with Sticky Fingers, and then of course everybody points to Exile on Main Street as the masterpiece, and it's a sprawling masterpiece. The 1972 tour, debauchery. If you've ever seen the movie, the bootlegged documentary Cocksucker Blues, which was going to be the official tour documentary until the Stones saw it, until director Robert Frank, we don't want to release that. We can't be, we're known as bad boys, but that's just way too much. Goat's Head Soup is kind of thought of as, a lesser album. Some people say not a very good album. I could make that point with It's Only Rock and Roll, but not with Goat's Head Soup. To me, Goat's Head Soup is sort of the calming down of the whirlwind of Exile on Main Street and the 1972 tour. This is the chill record. I mean, this album is beautiful ballads and heavy funk. The Stones getting into a funk vein, which I love. So I'm not down on this album like some people are, and people are like, why did they do a box set of this? And this is an original copy that I have, or I don't know if it's not a first pressing, but this does have the hype sticker for Angie and the track list on the back. When they made the announcement of this, I was like, finally a Stones set that is worthy of the price tag. Because I was a bit disappointed in the deluxe editions of Exile and Sticky Fingers. There really wasn't anything to write home about. They had a few outtakes. Basically, it's a double disc CD set and the vinyl package in a box set is what it was. It was no big deal. There was no really big outtakes. There was no new mix. And the APCO stuff, the 60s stuff, when they issued Satanic Majesties for their anniversary, which I did buy that. And then in 2018, Beggar's Banquet, and then last year with Let It Bleed, I felt it was nothing to write home about. There was no outtakes. It was just essentially what was already there, packaged in a box and said, here you go. And I don't think the Stones had control over that. But even in a package like this, I don't know how much control the Stones have. I know Jagger's not interested in outtakes and any of that stuff. He has said that. They announced it, and I got excited. We're getting a new mix, all these outtakes, the Brussels affair. Oh my gosh, this set, there's like posters in here. It's a really good set. I'm like, this would justify the price tag. And then I followed Giles Martin on Twitter. Giles Martin said, he put out a tweet, look what I just did. I had the great honor of remixing Goat's Head Soup. What a band. So Giles Martin did the new mixes. somebody from the Beatles camp, George Martin's son, Giles Martin, who mixed the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper, the White Album, Abbey Road. You know, I've talked about him on this channel. He did the new mix. So immediately I'm like, well, I was going to get it before. Now I'm definitely going to get this set. And I was shocked. Not in a bad way, but I was shocked. Because with Giles Martin's new mixes for Sgt. Pepper and the new mix for the White Album and the new mix for Abbey Road, things stood out. Things were obvious. But on this one, I played it, and I'm like, is this a new mix? And then I had to do some A-Bing. I A-B'd the original vinyl with the new mix on vinyl, and then I A-B'd the 2009 remaster with the new CD of the new mix to really A-B. And I'm like, at first I was like, I don't know if I'm hearing any change or differences, you know? It's like I put the headphones on and I'm like, all right, the stereo placement is essentially the same on everything. Am I truly hearing a mix? Then I really got into the nuances. And it is a new mix. He didn't reinvent the wheel on this new mix. Very subtle in his choices. A lot of the stereo placement is the same, but with a greater edge towards more presence and clarity in the instruments. It's the ballads where you can really tell a difference. And I would say the hit song, Angie, is the one that really benefits from the mix, from doing a new mix. And I definitely A-B'd that. And one of the things I noticed on Angie is Mick Taylor, his second acoustic guitar, is in the right stereo channel. With headphones on the original, it's slightly buried. Keith on the left is more prominent. But now you could really make out Mick Taylor with this beautiful interplay going on. And I liked that. You really couldn't hear it that much in the original, but I liked the interplay. Heartbreaker, or the official title of Heartbreaker, is Do 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 Do, which is one of my favorite Stones tracks. The Billy Preston's clavinet is still on the right stereo channel, but you could feel it more. It's a bit more up front in the mix, and it just adds that layer of funk to the song. And the horns, probably the hottest horn chart of any Stones song, with Bobby Keys on sax, Jim Horn on sax, and Chuck Finley on trumpet, arranged by Jim Price. That horn line it's a fuller. It just feels a lot more well-rounded, is what I can say. Some of the other slight subtle differences is Dancing with Mr. D, the opening track. The opening guitar lick has much more prominent artificial double tracking on it. Then it's there on the original stereo, but on this one it's much more prominent. So overall, I love the new mix on this set. It's subtle. If you're used to Giles Martin and what he did on the White Album and Sgt. Pepper and Abbey Road with doing things like spreading the drum tracks out, you're not going to get that here. He's very faithful to the original stereo placement, but like I said, with the goal of giving you greater presence and clarity in the instruments. And of course, I will say I'm a bit disappointed in the Dolby Atmos mix, which would be 5.1 on your normal surround sound system, Dolby True HD. Not too much happening in the surrounds there, except on Heartbreaker. The horns are in the rear channels. Now, I don't know. I don't have an Atmos system, so I don't know what I'd be hearing overhead, if anything. But slightly disappointed in that one, but I have to live with it a bit more. The Brussels Affair, if you own it on bootleg when they officially released it, your bootleg is null and void. And now I say this new one in both the vinyl and CD box sets, every version is null and void. I like the way this one sounded. Giles didn't do that mix. I believe it was still Bob Claremont on that one. I could be wrong. But the liner notes in here are really good. I like the posters. Overall, I'm very happy with this set. And I want to see more Stones sets, like this. I would love Giles to delve into doing a new mix of Some Girls, which to me is another great Stones album. The second Stones album I've ever owned, and the second Stones album I heard from beginning to end. And I would like him to go back and do Exile on Main Street. I know that Mick always wanted to remix that album. I know that would be heresy by some standards, but I wouldn't mind a new mix of Exile. Although I would still want him to keep the dirty, grimy sheen to Exile on Main Street. But I wouldn't mind him doing both. Overall, I'm very happy with this mix. I'm glad they got Giles, so Giles is doing mixes now for both the Beatles and the Stones. So go Giles Martin. I've got no problem with Giles Martin's mixes. You know how much I love what he did with my heroes. Overall, if you're a Stones fan or you like the Stones, I like Goat's Head Soup. I'm going to say that again. I do not think Goat's Head Soup is a bad album at all. It's just not Exile on Main Street. And it has the misfortune of following Exile on Main Street. But I think Goat's Head Soup is a strong album. The songs are good. The songs are strong. It's the Come Down album. After, like I said, the Come Down album, Coming Down Again, Keith's song. Even though he wasn't coming down again. But it's the chill out album after the whirlwind of 1972 and the debauchery of that tour. I kind of think of this album as the chill out album. I always did. I have problems with the follow-up, It's Only Rock and Roll. But that's another story. But definitely excited to have this. I would say get this in your collection. Get the vinyl set, but if you get the vinyl set, you don't have the surround sound mix. So get that set, or get this set, or do what I did. Get this set and the new edition of the stereo mix on the standard vinyl. That's my take. Leave me some comments below. Keep them professional, and I'll talk to you soon.